Hello, welcome to VNews Podcast Daily and following are the highlights.
Central Judicial Reform Committee talks focal tasks. Vietnam calls for higher efficiency of Francophone. Petro Vietnam's company in Laos fares well. Grant raises 1 billion Vietnamese dong for children with heart disease.
The Central Steering Committee for Judicial Reform convened its second meeting in Hanoi on December 4th to discuss focal tasks of judicial reform from now to 2016. The meeting was chaired by President Trương Tấn Sang.
President Trương Tấn Sang, who headed the Central Steering Committee for Judicial Reform, said the judicial reform from now to 2016 needs to focus on realizing guidelines and policies contained in documents of the 11th Party Congress while keeping abreast of Resolution 49 on judicial reform strategies of the Political Bureau. He noted the necessity to train a contingent of judicial officials who are firm in political virtue and professionally proficient and have a sense of morality. Participants discussed ways to make the monitoring mechanism of people-elected agencies operate perfectly and promote the people's rights to democracy in judicial activities.
Vietnamese assistant to the Foreign Minister Nguyễn Ngọc Sơn attended the 27th Ministerial Conference of the International Organization of the Francophone in Paris from December 1st to 2nd.
Addressing the event, the Vietnamese officials praised the International Organization of the Francophone and its Secretary General for their efforts to help some member nations deal with conflicts and crises. He said the organization should continue promoting its strengths to support countries in the post-crisis period, focusing on reconstruction and eliminating risks caused by crises and conflicts. It should also coordinate with relevant regional and international organizations to improve the efficiencies of its activities as well as consolidate its role and position on the international stage. Participants at the meeting reviewed the implementation of the commitments made at the 13th Francophone Summit in Montenegro in October 2010. They discussed preparations for the 14th Francophone Summit slated for Kinshasa of Congo from October 12-14, 2012. On the sidelines of the conference, the Vietnamese delegation had bilateral working sessions with the International Organization of the Francophone director and leader of some member countries of the organizations and heads of the delegations.
The Vietnam National Oil and Gas Group, known as Petro Vietnam, marked the first anniversary of its company in Laos, the Lao Petro Vietnam Oil Company, or Lao PV Oil, in Vientiane on December 3rd.
Vice President of Petro Vietnam Management Board Hoàng Xuân Hùng reported that Lao PV Oil made a turnover of 771.2 billion kips and an estimated profit of 19.93 billion kips after 1 year of operation. At present, Lao PV Oil has 75 petroleum stations in 11 out of 17 provinces and cities in Laos, becoming the biggest non-state petroleum company and ranking second in terms of market share there. Petro Vietnam and Lao PV Oil raised 280 million kips from a charitable golf tournament, which was held as a part of the celebration to assist Lao victims of floods and other natural calamities in recent time.
At a recent seminar on nuclear power plant safety in southern Ninh Thuận province, Russian and Japanese experts have affirmed that the best and safest technology will be used for nuclear power plants in Vietnam.
The experts told the seminar that after an incident at Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan last March, both Russia and Japan have researched and renovated technologies used in nuclear power plants in a bid to provide the best and safest technology for nuclear power plants in Vietnam. These experts came from the National Atomic Energy Group of Russia and the International Nuclear Energy Development Companies of Japan. According to the National Electricity Development Plan, construction of the Ningthut nuclear power plants number 1 and number 2 is expected to begin in December 2014 and complete in 2020.
The Central Steering Committee on Food and Hygiene Safety has set up 10 intersectoral inspection teams to monitor food hygiene and safety in preparation for the traditional Lunar Year festival.
From December 10, 2011 to January 30, 2012, the team will examine the application of food hygiene and safety standards at food processors, producers, restaurants and importers, with a focus on confectioneries, pork pies and poultry meat, which are consumed in a large quantity during Tet. The Central Steering Committee Against Smuggling, Fake Goods and Trade Frauds will set up 6 inspection teams to reinforce the monitoring of trade and transport of spirit, beer and tobacco on this occasion.
National retail sales were valued at around 176.4 trillion Vietnam dong, about $8.4 billion in November, according to the General Statistics Office.
The November figure brought the nation's retail value over the past 11 months to 1,810 trillion Vietnamese dong, $86.4 billion, a year-on-year surge of 23.5%, the General Statistics Office said. During this period, consumers spent increased amounts of money in preparation for Christmas and New Year celebrations. During the past 11 months, trade activities contributed 78.8% to the total retail value, a rise of 26.3% against the same period last year. Retail value gained from the hotel and restaurant sectors accounted for 11%, a rise of 26.3%. Service value made up 9% of the total figure, a year-on-year surge of 11.7%. With the development of the distribution system, private companies contributed 34.9% to the national total, while foreign invested companies managed to make only a 2.8% addition.
The government has decided to earmark 340 billion Vietnam dong from the state budget to help 11 Mekong Delta provinces grow winter-spring rice crop and restore infrastructural facilities after floods.
The hardest hit An Giang and Dong Thap provinces will receive 60 billion Vietnamese dong each from the sum. Long An will be given 40 billion Vietnamese dong, while Vĩnh Long, Hậu Giang and Sắc Trang province and Cần Thơ city will get 30 billion Vietnamese dong each. Kiên Giang and Tiền Giang provinces will be provided with 20 billion Vietnamese dong each, and Bến Tre and Bạc Liêu provinces will receive 10 billion Vietnamese dong each. Since September 2011, floods pulled down houses, submerged a large area of farming land and many sections of roads, and swept away a number of bridges to cut off transport in some parts of these provinces. The Prime Minister asked chairmen of beneficiary provincial and city people's committees to manage the allocation and use of the given funding, as well as the local budget and other financial sources appropriately in dealing with the consequences of floods.
Canadian Ambassador to Vietnam, Deborah Chatsit, said the Run for Children 2011 in Hanoi on December 4th raised 1 billion Vietnam dong for children with cancer and heart diseases.
The Run for Children 2011 was jointly organized by the Hanoi chapter of the Vietnam Union of Friendship Organizations, the Canadian Embassy, and the Vietnam-Canada Friendship Association. It drew the participation of more than 12,000 people of all walks of life and foreigners in Hanoi. I'm moved seeing many people taking part in this significant activity, as it helps raise funds for children struggling against heart and fatal disease. As an organizer, I do hope that this activity will be supported by more and more people. All donated money will be used to fund research programs on cancer and treatments for poor children living with cancer and heart diseases at the National Hospital of Pediatrics, Hanoi Hospital, and the program of Vietnam Heartbeat Fund. Held for the first time in 2000, the event has so far raised more than 4 billion Vietnamese dong.
And that comes to the end of the news today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.